Kristin from Hapa Home Cooking. I'll place my handle here. And I'm super excited to be taking over for Nina on the Local Wanderer today. So just to introduce myself, I run a recipe development account that I started on Instagram back in October, and I have hopes of soon launching a food blog. So stay tuned for that and go ahead and give me a follow so that you don't miss out on any of that. But basically, my whole goal in coming onto this platform and kind of putting myself out there is to help people get back into the kitchen and to gain confidence in the kitchen. So I started doing recipe demoing and a little bit of teaching about ingredients or techniques a couple years ago on my personal channel. And then it took me like a year to actually launch Hapa Home Cooking because I was nervous. I'm like, I'm not a professionally trained chef. Why would anybody want to listen to me? But what I found in almost 6 months of doing this is that people like things that they can make at home, things that are attainable at their local grocery store, techniques that are approachable, and of course, food that is delicious, because that is number one, right? So I have really found such an awesome community through putting my food out there and challenging myself to bring you guys fresh and new content, that it's really been a great kind of period of growth for me, and also a way for me to tap into that creative side in the kitchen. Because like I said, I'm not a professionally trained chef. I actually am a nurse as my day job, which has been very interesting trying to juggle me wanting to continue to develop content and to have this passion project and creative outlet while at the same time dealing with the additional stressors that I am at work right now. So as we are all facing new challenges right now, having to juggle our time differently, dealing with the isolation of being at home so much, wearing all these different hats that we typically don't have to do on our day-to-day basis, I am trying to bring to the platform some continued positivity, and just like a little bit of sunshine during your day. And I'll tell you, it hasn't been all sunshine for me either. My husband is a small business owner, and we have been negatively affected by this as well. But I feel like we are going to get to the other side of this, and we're going to look back and be so proud of how we did through this. I saw like a weird quote. It was something along the lines of, every challenge you've faced up until this point in your life, you have overcome. And I'm not a big like mantra or quote person, but that really did resonate with me. So what I want to do with you guys today is show you how to make a really easy Asian meatball recipe that's done in the oven with a really sticky, yummy glaze that's going to go over top after they cook. And I'm also going to show you a cucumber salad, and then I'm not going to show you how to make rice. If you have questions about how to make rice, just go ahead and DM me. My biggest tip though is you have to wash it really well, agitate that rice under cold water with your fingers, and just keep pouring out the milky water until it runs clear. That's going to give you the best end result. But I would love to hear from you guys. I'm going to put a little question box here. If you're having any challenges in the kitchen, go ahead and feel free to just send me a message, either DM or in the question box. I will do my best to help you out. If you don't have all of these ingredients, just go ahead and message me. I'll talk to you about substitutions that you could do, because this is a very versatile recipe. In addition to the recipe that I'm going to make for you guys today, I also wanted to share with you an IGTV video that came out a couple weeks ago, but it's all about meal prepping and component meal prepping that I did with a friend who's a personal trainer and nutrition coach. And I feel like a lot of what we talked about and what we demonstrated in that IGTV video is really applicable to what people are going through right now, and how you can save some time by meal prepping, even though we're all at home most of the time during the day, so that you'll have leftovers, and it'll make it easy through the week, you know, so you don't have to be cooking every single night. So I'm going to throw up the link to that post, and you can always save it for later if you want to watch it. All right, so we are going to start off our recipe by making the cucumber salad, because it's really nice if you can let it marinate for at least an hour before serving. So I just make it at the beginning of the meal prep, and then by the end it's good to go. So in here I have 4 Persian cucumbers, and I just sliced them kind of on a little bias. And they're pretty thinly sliced, about 1/4 of an inch. And then I have a very thinly as you can get it, 1/4 of a white onion. So I have that here in the bowl. We're gonna go ahead and add the marinade on top. So I'm going to do a tablespoon of sesame oil. I'm just eyeballing it because this is really to taste. We're gonna do 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. So 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do a nice squeeze of sriracha. You could omit this if you're making this for the kids, and then just add it to your own if you like. We're gonna do 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, and then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. A little bit more. So we're gonna mix this all together, and we're gonna let it marinate. You can leave it on the counter or throw it in the fridge. I like to have it cold when I serve it. And you're gonna have a taste. And keep in mind that these flavors are gonna intensify as it marinates. So if it's a little bit bland, just leave it be to let it sit for a little bit to let those flavors develop. But the vinegar is gonna soften that onion flavor so you won't have as much like that harsh raw onion. But it is so easy. And then all we need to do for this is just some toasted sesame seeds on top for serving. All right, let's make the Asian meatballs. So I have 1 pound of ground pork and 1 pound of ground turkey into this bowl. And head over to my page because I give a little tip about extra ground meat and how you can store that. But I'm gonna mix this all up with all the ingredients, okay? So to start, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt to our mixture. And I'm gonna throw in some fresh cracked black pepper. Now, you can use any kind of ground meat in this recipe. If you have turkey, chicken, beef, pork, it's all fine. So we're gonna throw that in there. I have 2/3 a cup panko here. Panko breadcrumbs, just a Japanese style breadcrumbs. You can use Italian if that's what you have on hand. And then I have the whites of some scallions. And I do give a little tip about how to get this fine mince over on my page. Okay. So next up, we are gonna throw in some garlic paste. All right, I threw my glove on because things are about to get messy. So we're just gonna crack in an egg. And then I have hoisin sauce here. If you don't have hoisin sauce, you can message me and we can talk about some alternatives that you can use using soy sauce and brown sugar, that kind of thing. But it's a lovely, sticky, rich sauce. And then I like to do this with a glove, but you don't have to, you can just wash your hands nicely. We're gonna give this a nice mix, and we're just gonna mix it until combined. You don't wanna overdo it and make the meat tough, okay? One other tip I had when you're making a meatball recipe from scratch, you can always take a little bit of the meat off and just pan fry it and have a taste for seasoning before committing to the whole batch. All right, so I'm gonna form these up into little meatballs, and we're gonna put it on a baking tray with some foil that I'm gonna spray with a little bit of nonstick spray. Meatballs are all rolled out. They're about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches in diameter. I got 34 out of 2 pounds of ground meat. So they're gonna go in at 400 degrees for about 14 to 16 minutes.
So we're gonna get started on our glaze for the meatballs. So in this pan, I have about 1.5 tablespoons of toasted sesame oil. You can use regular sesame oil. And I've just added to that some garlic and ginger. I've just been sauteing this over medium heat to just release some of those aromatics. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in soy sauce, sriracha, and hoisin sauce. This is 1/2 cup of soy sauce going in. And then we're just gonna reduce this until it's a nice sticky glaze. You can add as much sriracha as you like. And then I'm gonna need 2 hands to do this hoisin sauce because it is pretty thick. I also forgot to mention I added in 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar just to give it a little bit of acid. And now we're just going to reduce this sauce while those meatballs cook. So you're gonna reduce it till it's a nice glaze consistency, but just be careful not to let this burn. I like to do it over medium-low heat, nice slow and low. Then we're gonna go ahead and add our meatballs into this pan. So our sauce is nicely reduced and the meatballs are out of the oven. I'm just going to transfer them over here into our pan to coat them all nicely. I'll show you, I do always cut into one of the meatballs just to make sure it's all the way cooked through. And that becomes like a little chef snack, I always call it. So you get to have a little taste before dinner. So I'm just going to transfer all of these guys into here. We're going to give them a nice stir to coat them and we'll be ready to serve. All right, guys, moment of truth. It smells amazing in this kitchen. But let's have a taste. Wow. The meat is so tender and juicy, and that sauce is super flavorful. It's like a flavor bomb in your mouth. I'm super excited about this to be served alongside with rice and that refreshing cucumber salad. It's legit. All right, guys, here is the finished dish. Feel free to drizzle a little bit more of that sauce over the rice if you like. It is so comforting and delicious. I'm super proud of this recipe, guys. It is so good. I hope you try it. If you do, please tag me at Hapa Home Cooking so that I can see your creation.
The last thing I wanted to tell you guys is all of my posts that you'll see on my Instagram. They have the written directions for the recipe in the actual post itself, but if you go up to the highlight folder and you find the folder, it will have a step-by-step demo of how to make that recipe. So if you're scrolling through and you say, oh my gosh, let's look at the gnocchi, or let's look at the enchiladas or something, you can then just watch the video back and I'll walk you through how to make it. But never hesitate to send me a DM if you have a question about anything in the kitchen, or if you just want to chat and you're having a hard time right now. I honestly am here for whatever you need. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off, go for my daily walk. Hope you guys are getting outside today. Just wanted to thank Nina for having me on to take over the account for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed and you learned something. And if you want to keep seeing recipes that you can do while you're at home during this time, go ahead and throw me a follow over at Hapa Home Cooking. All right, have a good day, guys. Bye.